All right, everybody. So I'm so happy to bring this onto my channel. This is one of my first fixed blades that I've had in my collection. Um, I don't really. I own many knives and many fixed blades now, but when I first got this knife, I didn't think I'd ever have a fixed blade knife because I didn't really care too much for them. I just saw them as something that you don't normally carry on you, realistically, anyways. I mean, you could, but it has to be on the outside of your belt line. It's got to be out in the open. Shirt can't be covering it. Just so many other rules. But this was given to me as a gift by somebody who is no longer with us, and kind of saddens me, but it makes me a little bit prideful and happy whenever I see it. So let's get into it, everybody. Let's talk blades, because that's what we're into today. Yes, it is the CRKT Hissatsu. And I gotta say, this knife is one of those knives that won't ever die, because it's just awesome. So CRKT, good job. The only one that I can actually find on Amazon right now, because this was given to me, this was gifted to me. The only one that I was able to find on Amazon was the all blacked out version, and you're looking at spending 85, 83. Now, when these first came out, it was a little over $100 for each of these if you're able to find one. Of course, they have different sizes. This one, and there's a bigger one that comes in a nice wooden case if you're able to find that. But this I have to say, it's designed by James Williams. I do have a few folders of his designs, and this was given to me years prior, before I even knew or even cared who Columbia River Knife and Tool was. I just liked the appearance of this, the tacticality of the sheath, Kydex with the, it's just so versatile. And the plastic rubberized handle that made it so durable. And of course, this beautiful mirror finish that you see on the blade right now. And yep, okay, so I'm not entirely sure what that is, but 2907 China, Hissatsu. That is the CRKT. And look at that. That's that point, man. Needle sharp. I mean, my skin still gets caught on that thing. That's how sharp this knife is. I have not used this knife for anything other than partial carry and self-defense. I used to, when I was gifted this knife, it was on my 21st birthday, and it was given to me from a specific person. And this person has a collection of tantos. He doesn't have katanas, he doesn't have little knives, he has just tantos. And he had two of these. One was gifted to him by his wife, the other was gifted to him by his grandfather, who, sadly, I guess his grandfather ended up passing away. And then he was, I don't know if it was willed to him or given to him before he passed away, I'm not entirely sure. But he decided to keep his grandfather's. And because I was also a good friend of him and his wife said, well, go ahead and just give him the one that I got you, because they're both the same. And he didn't know what to do. He was like, oh, I don't want to, but I don't want to get rid of them because one was given to me by you and the other one was given to me by, my grandfather. So it was just this big old mess. And I don't know what happened. I think he just came down to the decision on giving me the one that his wife gave him, and his wife talked him into doing it anyway. So he did that, and that was really, really nice of him. On my 21st birthday, I was getting drunk and just in my backyard with a bunch of my friends and coworkers, and it was a really good, memorable birthday. He didn't give this to me the day of, actually. He gave it to me the day after. He's like, here you go. It was wrapped up in like this like cloth with rubber bands. And he's like, don't open that. Don't open that till you get home. I don't want you to get in trouble or have anything happen. I was like, yeah, no problem. And I just threw it in my backpack and took it home that night. And I obviously got super excited because I knew it was a knife. I mean, it was pretty obvious. So I went ahead and unraveled it and took it out, and I've had this ever since. And it's beat up, but for good reason. I've dropped it a few times. It never fell out of the sheath. But it was always in my waistband. It didn't come with anything. It was just the sheath and the knife. So I always put this in my waistband. It was so easy to slide in my waistband because of how thin the sheath is. I mean, that's typical, It's not huge. It's just nice and thin. So I slid it in my and this part right here would stop where my belt is. So I used to live in my own apartment with my my then girlfriend, and anytime I took out the trash or checked the mail, I would always kind of throw this in my waistband. It was just kind of just that little bit of confidence that I needed. I didn't really live in the safest part of the area that I was in, so I always had this as kind of just like a little backup. But it always kind of gave me that little sense of, if you ever have to or if you ever need to, you can always bust this thing out. And I never had to, which is good. And I hope and pray that no one ever has to. But it's just one of those really, really awesome knives that you just don't want to screw up with, So, anyways, let's go ahead and get into the specs of this knife. Go ahead and get into the weight with the sheath and without, so you guys have a good idea. If you're able to find this exact one, this mirror polish blade, I wish you the best, because I know it's a little bit difficult to find. So it comes in at 10.50 ounces with sheath. Without sheath, you are looking at 7.96 ounces. We'll go ahead and get into the length right now so you guys have a good idea of how long this bad boy is. So you are looking at 7 inches of blade with 6.5 cutting edge, and close to about a foot, 11 7/8. You know what? It's stopping right there, so... Oh, it's not even in frame. I'm so sorry. Okay. So yeah, it's coming in at about a foot long. So it's... Yeah, it's a foot long. And of course we'll go into the... how thick and wide the blade is. So 5.2 millimeters on the blade, and on the handle you are looking at a 15.9. And like I said, you are going to be spending close to $86, or depending on where you find this, a little over 100 or around about $100. So if this is something that you're interested in and you want to find it, you can. It is still out there. I know it is. This is just one of those tactical knives that a lot of people are interested in finding, if you're actually capable of actually finding it. You can actually see... There I am. Hey! You can actually see how nicely polished this mirror is. It's one of those really, really nice knives. So now, story time with this thing. Like I said, I didn't live in the best part of the area, and any time that I would leave my apartment, especially if it was dark out, I would throw this in my waistband, and I would take care of the tasks that I need to, whether it's checking the mail late at night or throwing out the trash late at night. I would always carry this on me. And of course, it's just an in and out type thing. One night I threw this in my waistband, and I went out to throw out the trash. I had about 3 bags worth. I did like summer cleaning. We went through, I shredded a bunch of old paperwork that was no longer important. I was going through a lot of stuff, and knew that, okay, this is garbage, that's broken. We just need to get rid of all this stuff, because living in a 1-bedroom apartment with your girlfriend, and you just don't want to have all extra clutter when you need the space for other things. So Had 4 big bags of trash, and I was hauling them out one by one. And I lived upstairs, so I would walk downstairs. And then our dumpster was, I want to say, about like 35 to 40 feet away from where I park my car. So, of course, I had to go to my car for something. I ended up forgetting something. I can't remember what. So I went to my car, unlocked it, hopped in there, grabbed whatever I needed to grab, shut it, locked it. And as I did that, there was a guy who, and he was a security guard, a local security guard. I guess he was in the area. He freaked me out. He spooked me. I turned around and I was like, "Whoa, man, what the heck?" And my hand went for this, and instantly I pulled it out, just about that much. I want to say, yeah, close to about that much. And he saw the glint of the reflection of the metal on the blade here. And instantly, obviously, when I found out that it was the security guard, I saw his little badge and everything. I sheathed it. And I want to say it was a guy, I want to say kind of middle-aged. He looked at me and he kind of jumped back because he wasn't expecting that I would do anything. But at the same time, he wasn't, I don't know. It was just one of those encounters where it freaked him out more than me. And I didn't realize that until he told me about it. He was like, "Hey, man, what are you carrying right now? What is that?" And I was like, "Oh, it's a knife." And he goes, "Yeah, that's really cool looking." So I took it out and I showed him. And apparently he was an ex-police officer at one time. I guess he ended up quitting the job because it was a little bit too stressful for him. So he went into the next best thing, and that was the whole rent-a-cop thing, security guard type deal. And he was like, "Hey, man, just to let you know, what you did is illegal." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Oh, because you're covering it. You're not supposed to cover a fixed blade. And you have to have it out, you had your jacket over it, just next time, He's like, I used to be a cop, I'm not anymore. I just want to let you know, just be careful when you do that." And I was like, "Yeah, I know, but I'm in the vicinity of where I live." He goes, "Still, you don't want to get in trouble by an actual cop if he sees you do that. Plus you don't want to get shot, you don't want to die over something, because I know this area isn't the best, and I'm sure there are no exceptions for anybody. If it pertains to someone's safety, if they have to, they will." And he's like, "I don't want you to fall into that category of mess ups." And I was like, "No, I get it. I understand. Thank you. And hey, look, I'm sorry." And he was like, "Yeah, no problem. That's really cool." So I busted it out. I showed it to him. He was looking at it. He was basically just checking it out. He was like, "Man, this is really nice. What is this?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know." And at the time, I didn't know what CRKT was. So looking at that label, and he was holding this knife, and he was like, "CRKT, okay." And then he flips it around. He goes, "Hissatsu," and he's like, "Man, it's really nice, beautiful knife." I was like, "Thank you, sir." And he's like, "Try not to go out with that." Of course, I didn't listen to him every night. It was just routine. I take this thing, throw it in my waistband, throw out the trash, check the mail, take it out, put it back on my dresser or whatever. And I always had it somewhere where it was readily available if needed. If my then girlfriend needed to protect herself, she could use this, knowing where it's at. So I always had this somewhere. If she had to take out the trash late at night or whatever, what have you, check the mail, whatever. I just told her that it does not leave home. I don't want it to be in the car or anything and have it get pulled over and then be in hot water because of something so simple as this. Simple misunderstanding. So I've had this for a while and I really, really like it. And through CRKT, finding the Hissatsu is one of the things that it's just a cool knife. It feels great in the hand. It looks beautiful. And the fit and finish on this thing is just, it's on par to nothing else I've ever seen, especially from anywhere other than Cold Steel. So if you're interested in this thing, I'm sure you can find it. Like I said, there's an all-black version, which would probably work a lot better late at night because then there's no blade reflection. And that one is the one that I'm looking at right now. That's on Amazon for about $85 and change. And it looks just like this, except the blade is not a mirror finish. It's got a black coating on it. And it looks pretty sleek. So if you're interested in it, go ahead and check it out. Purchase one for yourself, and maybe you might have some cool stories with it too. But this is one of those CRKTs that I am actually proud of owning, and I've had owned for a long time. And I thank the person who gifted it to me. It's probably the nicest thing to get from somebody is something that you're into, your knives. So, knives aren't just for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, folks. Knives are also cool conversation pieces, and they can also be used as last-ditch effort to save your life, as well as open up a package or two or mail, or cut a few zip ties or some rope while you're out with a few buddies being idiots while you're trying to go fishing. Whatever. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next one.